Every day when I think about it, if I'm not at the airport or I'm nowhere near an airplane, I think about it like, oh my gosh, I'm flying an airplane. I can't believe it. It's a thrill, and because it was my greatest fear, I think that even at times I'm scared when I think about it. But when I'm sitting in the cockpit and I'm going through everything that Parrish taught me, I'm just like, you know, it's just like natural, and it flows, as all the pilots know, that it becomes second nature, just like driving does. But for me to be at home and think about it, I'm still pretty shocked that I'm able to fly something in the sky. But I think with flying, you know, it's like an ongoing challenge. You can get instrument rated, become a flight instructor, and so that, I think, will continue to be a challenge in pursuing that even further. You know, I always say that I don't think I'd ever want to do anything to prove myself to anyone. And if anything, that's the wrong reason to do something, because if we want to prove something for someone else, that's, I think that has the wrong motives, because if I did anything, it was either to prove it to myself or because of the enjoyment of it, but not to prove to anyone else that I could do it, because I didn't necessarily need to prove anything to anyone else, and I don't think anyone has to. It's just a matter of accepting ourselves and being proud of who we are. I wore prosthetic arms for 11 years, actually, and I wore them to school every single day. And these look like two Captain Hook arms, and they could probably move up and down. The elbow could move up and down, the hook could open and close. And on the very first day of 8th grade, I remember walking to the bus stop. I went to a regular school, a regular public school, and I was in a brand new school for the first time in a new city. And I said, you know what, I've wore these prosthetic arms enough. And I remember walking to the bus stop, and I walked on the bus, and the bus door shut. I promised I would never again wear them. And to this day, they're in the closet. And for me, I think that that's something that everyone has, is they have their own prosthetic arms, their own fake arms, whatever inhibits them. And for me, that was my decision that I had to make, was that I had to live the rest of my life proud of who I was, and not have to worry about this expectation to have fake arms if I didn't have arms. If I grew arms overnight, tomorrow if I woke up with arms, I really wouldn't know what to do with them, to be honest with you. I really don't know. I'm so accustomed to using my feet, and my brain is wired to my feet. If I'm sitting down talking to you, I'll gesture with my feet. It's so natural for me, so I don't feel like I'm missing anything. And I mean, it's incredible what they've been doing with prosthetic arms, and I definitely recommend them to people who've lost their arms due to trauma or accidents or the war or anything like that. I think it's incredible what they're doing, and I give them more power. But in my situation, I was born this way, and I don't know any different. So for me to have something foreign on me is actually more difficult. I have some pretty incredible parents, as you can imagine. I want to share with you that my dad, he said from the time I was born, because both my parents actually had no expectation that I was going to be born without arms, and it was on the delivery table when they found out. So you can imagine they were in for quite a shock. And my dad, he has said on a number of occasions that he has never once shed a tear about my birth condition, and he has never once seen me as a victim. So I never had the opportunity to even think that I was a victim of this condition. And I think all of us have that with whatever issues we have in our lives, is we have the choice of whether we look at ourselves as a victim or to be the one in power. And so for me, that attitude that my dad had, he never saw me as a victim, he never once shed a tear, and I never had that as an excuse. So I lived my life saying that, you know, this is me, I'm not a victim of anything, and you know, I can do whatever I want to do. And my mom told me that I could do whatever I want to do. So, yes.
Aero-TV is brought to you by...
The beauty of the Release 9 system architecture is that you have two fully redundant integrated flight displays. Each has access to all the systems and data. Providing full redundancy and eliminating traditional reversionary modes, Release 9 allows either display to be configured as the PFD. Now your failure modes are much more manageable because you can continue to fly with the same familiar display symbology without the need to relearn composite modes you don't typically fly with. Avidyne's Integra Release 9 is truly the next generation in fully integrated flight deck technology.